last time. In fact, the CDD has agreed with some of the issues being raised about the nature of the limited voter registration being run by the EC currently. Yesterday, Madam Mensah herself addressed a press conference on some of this issue, seeking to address why they've decided to choose this option. Have the issues you've raised been addressed?
Thank you very much, my brother. And let me say a very big thank you to you and your studio members, and also good morning to our listeners. Well, we can't say the issues have been addressed, as I did indicate in the similar interviews yesterday, unless we have the data from the ongoing exercise to see the categories of people, the destination of the people who have registered. It looks as if people are enthusiastic to see queues at the district offices, and that seems to suggest that in spite of the problems that we're highlighting, people are still registering. But we will be very happy to have the data to categorize the people who are registering, where they have been coming from. So if indeed, in spite of the challenges, it's inclusive of our people we're craving for, people in the hinterlands, the people in the rural areas, then we will say, well, in spite of the difficulties, we are happy that the exercise did not disenfranchise the people who were canvassing for.
So you want to see data that suggests that is an all-inclusive, the queue that we are seeing are all-inclusive. People from the rural areas are also part of that queue.
That is the tenet of the Constitution. The Constitution says that the Electoral Commission shall facilitate a process for eligible Ghanaians to be able to register. Don't forget, Ghana elections are not expected to be a cost to the voter. And therefore, all avenues, all processes, all decisions that are taken to respond to the constitutional demand on the Electoral Commission will also be responsive of some of these things. Yes, people are registering. We are seeing the queue. People are even putting stones overnight to join queue ahead of the opening of the registration centers. But that is not enough. It will be enough for us because we are not craving for people who live in the centers who can just walk to the district offices and get registered. We're craving for people who have to transport themselves and their guarantors from the hinterland. We're craving for people whose villages are cut off when the torrential rains. We're craving for people who even struggle to have their daily meals, let alone getting money to transport themselves and their guarantors to the district. So in spite of all these dangers that we're expressing, if the data suggests that, yes, our fears have been allayed, they're not all good for all of us in Ghana. We're not just making the noise because we are noisemakers. We're making the noise because the Constitution says we should not, in any instance, not at the instance or the challenge of the problem of the registrant or the voter, disenfranchise anybody. So if the policy is taken, if the strategy you are using to register qualified voters seem to skew against certain group of people who will be disenfranchised, then the noise will still continue.
So just announcing that I have registered these numbers of people, it's not good enough for you. You want the disaggregation of the data.
That was not the direction of the argument. The direction of the argument was, well, district capitals are located in developed areas that have the population. District capitals are located within the district where in some areas, just after 5 kilometers, you enter into terrain that are remote travel. District capitals are located in some communities where it's only market days that people are able to access their district capitals. That was the danger we're expressing. So you telling us that if registered, you're targeted 1.5 million and therefore, or over, and therefore you are happy. We will not be happy until we are able to see the data that suggests that it was so inclusive that of the people that were afraid might be disenfranchised were even able to register more than the people living in the urban centers. That will be happy that our fears have been allayed.
In what form should this data be presented?
Well, the Electoral Commission is capturing the data, and apart from the gender and the age categories, they are also capturing the data of people who are registered in their locations so as to be able to assign them to particular polling stations, because this registration is being done at the district offices. At the end of the day, the people were assigned to their locations so as to be able to assign a particular area they will be voting. And therefore, the data will capture where people are lodging, where people are located, where people are staying. So if the Electoral Commission is presenting the data at the end of the registration exercise, we need full data of all these backgrounds so that we can be able to make informed analysis.
She says their target is 700,000, and so far it looks like they are on course. But she also admits that they are not hoping to capture everybody, that moving into 2024, they will open a continuous voter registration exercise at the same district offices and then do a mop-up at difficult-to-access areas. Should this not be enough?
I'm hearing two different targets, because the Electoral Commission says that for their calculation ahead of the registration and the data that they have, almost 500,000 people enter the voting age every year. And they did the last registration in 2020, and therefore they are expecting 503. So I don't think it should be 750,000. I don't think. Even that said, who are among the 750,000 targets? And if you say you are going to do continuous registration towards the 2024 general elections, then you are just collaborating. You are just emphasizing the part of the apathy we have towards the local government elections. We have an exercise ahead of us. December 19th, as the date has been set by the Electoral Commission itself. And over the years, apart from the 1988 district level elections that was held under the PNDC Law 27, that recorded a little over 58% voter turnout. Since we entered into the Fourth Republic, we've not had any voter turnout in the district level elections that crosses the 50% line. Even the last one was around 33, a little over 33%. So if you have an election ahead of you that continuously register a very low voter turnout, you need to motivate people to be able to hip up the enthusiasm, the encouragement, to be able to keep up the participation. So we increase your turnout as Electoral Commission. But if you think that the district level election is not important, and therefore, instead of the fact that you have this election ahead of you just 2 months ahead, and you are targeting an election a year to come, then it means you are just lending credence to the national apathy against the district level election. But don't forget, district authorities are the fulcrum for development. That's where our attention must even be turned to. The district the assemblies are the local authorities that are giving our common funds to ensure development. We therefore need caliber, a certain standard of assembly members, unit committee members, to be able to fashion down the development for our district and local communities. And that's where our attention should be turned to. I just didn't want to go there, but it looks as if nationwide, everybody, we don't value DLE, and that's very pathetic. So if the EC values the DLE, then the mop-up exercise that he's talking about, the additional exercise to mop up people who were not able to be captured during this limited voter registration to target the district level elections, so that we don't talk of the extension they've been talking about. Even if you extend the day for 4 more days, and the problems that we are enumerating are still existing, the people in the hinterlands can still not register. So instead of talking of extension of days, I think we need to talk of expansion of the district so that we are able to capture, bring the registration center a bit closer to the people, and they are able to partake at no cost of this. And therefore, we motivate people and also start the education to encourage people to vote during the upcoming district level elections. Other than that, then we are not also being fair to our assembly members, our unit committee members, and district governance structure in general.
So, in other words, you're suggesting that her argument alone is essentially telling people that this election, the upcoming election, the district level elections are not that important. Wait for 2024.
But brother, we've seen it over the years. We've seen over how many people talk about DLE. We are in 3 months too. If it were to be national elections, we'll have media households who have projected, painted all their offices, counts down to national level elections. How many media houses have you seen projecting the district level elections, even though we are just 3 months ahead? The development partners, they don't have even money, they don't even have budget for district level elections. The government itself, what proactive measures are the government taking? So it's a national canker that we need to solve. But the Electoral Commission, being the elections management body that is mandated to try and keep people, as many people as possible, to get take part in the electoral process, going that way just becomes so pathetic to how we take our local governance in general. I'm expecting that the Jane will say that because he's not been recording higher numbers in our DL, we are trying to do everything we can to have a higher number of people who qualify to register so that they can take part in the upcoming district level elections so as to increase their numbers as against the old ones we'll be recording.
Well, so for you, you're still waiting for that announcement of expansion. That's what is important to you.
Yeah, we should be talking about expansion or extension. What I will do is or not. I mean, if you talk of extension, it means you're still going to use the district offices. And the challenges that we've been talking about, that's it to prevent or fight against our rural people not to be able to register. Also be there. We are still in the rainy season. We are still in the poverty era. We are still in a situation that people even struggle to transport themselves from the rural areas to the city. I just told you that there are some districts that their communities, they are able to access their district capital only on market days. And even that, some of them set off in the morning, they are able to get to the district capital in the noon. So it tells the challenge, the real challenges people actually face. So if you are telling me that I should commit myself in this difficult situation and commit to other people to come and vote for me, don't also forget that the enthusiasm, the motivation to register, to get this voter ID card, it's not like previously. Previously, the voter ID was used for other transactions. So people were motivated to queue to register because not only for the voting, but also for other transactions. Remember those days we have small loans companies springing up, and the demand for access to these loans was the ID card they were using. Most people in our rural areas don't have a passport. So it was the voter ID card they were using for all these transactions, even banking transactions and other things. Now the Ghana card has replaced all these things. So what is the motivation there for people to queue to go and register? So it is up to the Electoral Commission, in the face of all these challenges, to institute a policy and measure that will still be motivating enough for people to go and queue to register.
Having said that, let me conclude then by asking you about this defense that they've put up for the modality that they've adopted. They are talking about sanctity of the register. You've been involved in elections for so long.
My brother, I don't want to go there. We've compiled a register that we are using, that we are not going to throw away. That register was compiled using the mass registration exercise in all the registration centers, which are always tend to be the voting centers. Are we saying that our register, the existing register, that was registered in the registration centers across the country, there's a question mark on it? Then let's throw it away and start your new process that will ensure a full sanctity of the entire register, not just the 750 persons you are going to add to over 14 million population. That will bring the sanctity to the entire register. I just really don't want to go there at all. If you are making a point, just analyze the point before you come up with it. You have used a sales system to register over 14 million voters. You are just going to add 750, as you just told me, to the 14 million. You think the 750 structure, the strategy you are using, will purge the old register of 14 million of any form of defect that the old register has. Don't let us go there. Don't let us go there at all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
Mr. Paul Aborampah Mensah is Senior Programs Officer of CDD Ghana, joining us on the matter of what Madam Jane Mensah has been saying at that press conference in defense of their decision to do the limited voter registration exercise at the various district offices of the Electoral Commission at the Mini. We are looking at 268, they say.